What is going on, everybody? It's KB. Before the episode starts, make sure you go check out StreamerSZN's brand new theme music. That's right. We have full-time, brand new theme music thanks to the newest homie and newest member of the music side of Underground Sports Philadelphia homies. That is Mobley Stay Volk. His new single is out now. It is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be hearing it on audio until we can figure out if we can play it on video on StreamerSZN episodes from here on out. That's our new theme music. Stay Volk. Go download it now wherever you get your music, and go check out the music video on YouTube. But now, let's get into the episode of StreamerSZN.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Penguins, witches, some network news. Who would have thunk? Not us, but guess what, everybody? We're back. Hit the TV bar. What is going on, fellow streamers? Welcome into another edition of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network, bringing you all the latest breakdowns in nerddom, TV, movies, and everything in the business world of streaming as well. It is KB and Christian coming at you with another episode, and it's kind of a mid-season checkpoint episode where Red October's been going on. We've been doing a bunch of traveling for other shows and getting our ducks in a line. So we said, hey, let's meet in the middle, and then we'll regroup from there. But we have a mid-season report on the Penguin, on Agatha All Along. We have some fun network news that we're breaking on this show. And then we will get into some news and notes around the streaming platform Multiverse as well. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at StreamerSZN across the board, and on TikTok, it's StreamerSZN Pod. You can follow Christian at @thewiz_PHI and follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave a 5-star rating and review, and subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of this show, every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on our YouTube channel. And be sure to get your merch from our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. You want to rep StreamerSZN in the best way possible, PHI Apparel Company's got you covered, from shirts and hoodies with all of your favorite Underground Sports Philadelphia brands and all your favorite Philly sports teams if you are a Philly sports fan. Rep our merch. Go to phiapparel.co or click the link in the description. And when you go to checkout, use code Underground for 10% off your next merch order. That's code Underground for 10% off your next merch order from our awesome pals over at PHI Apparel Company. Go to phiapparel.co or click the link in the description so you can stand out in the crowd. Christian, we're back, and the Penguin is off to quite a hot start, I would say. It's hot in the streets and not just in Gotham.
Yep. And it's I would say, and this was something that was done quietly. It was notable that ahead of the release of the show that it was decreed to be an HBO show and not just a Max show, which I think has shown through in its quality.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll say this too. Initially, 2 years ago when the Batman came out, I didn't know how I was going to feel about this like variation of the Batman kind of like universe and how it was going to be portrayed. Obviously, I was a huge fan of like the Dark Knight, run, and Batman is the one DC like standalone like character that I care about that's not in like a team up. So I was very like wary about how it was going to go down, and the more and more that time has like passed and like gone on, the more and more I appreciate Matt Reeves like take on the Batman. And I think, we were talking before we started recording, like this show has done such a great job of expanding on a world that, while at times in that original movie felt big, it was also kind of just like a pocket of what a Batman universe could be, and it gave you a lot. It was a longer movie, and it gave you so much like depth and so many different just characters to be introduced to, while also leaving you wanting more and more and more from the overall universe. And I think this show is doing a great job of doing that. And I think that's the approach that like every like universe quote unquote type thing should be, whether it's movie or shows, is how like that's how they should bounce off of each other. If you put out a film like The Batman, your shows should continue to just expand upon that universe while also not having to necessarily include your, marquee superstar. This show doesn't need Robert Pattinson as the Batman to succeed. And it's giving you character development, it's giving you new characters to kind of learn about and grow this universe so that when the Batman 2 comes out, whether it was 2025 or 2026.
It was supposed to be 25, but they punted to 26.
So when that comes out in 2 more years from now, there's going to be a larger piece of this Gotham, cinematic map. And I think they're doing a great job with it. And I think a lot of, shows and movies, whether it's Marvel, whether it's James Gunn and more DC stuff, they can learn a lot from the way that this show is expanding upon a universe that has like a giant face to it in Batman, but you don't necessarily need Batman for it to be successful.
Yep. You're like there's something to be said, and we'll touch on it as it goes along, that the Penguin and Agatha All Along existing at the same time and coming out at the same time really showcases how two different universes handle and view their storytelling and the depth they're able to give to it, and how that depth can then give meaning. Because one, I think in both of our opinions, probably does a better job than others.
Mm-hmm. And you know what one universe I could learn a lot from this is the fucking Sony Marvel universe.
Well, that universe just kind of shouldn't exist.
Well, I do have a funny joke for you, Christian, because I don't know if you saw it.
Craven?
Well, that's a joke in and of itself. But Dak Prescott appeared in the Sony Marvel universe before the Cowboys appeared in another NFC Championship game. Waka waka. But let's get into the Penguin. We're gonna break down the first 3 episodes of the show and kind of just give our thoughts on how it's progressing, how it's building. And I think something that's pretty awesome is just looking at Wikipedia right now and the US viewers in the millions. The premiere of this show, which came out on September 19th, got a 0.242, which is US viewers in millions. And then episode 2, which came out 10 days later, bumped up to a 0.299. So you grew in viewership from episode 1 to episode 2, which I think is kind of rare nowadays, where a lot of people tune in for the premiere of a show and the debut of a show, and then you kind of hold on to the core audience that's there to watch, or you garnered, the viewers that didn't know what to expect, but they stick around for it to jump a whole like 0.57 on the viewership scale is pretty big.
So not to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy, pal. It's really quite telling that, and I'm gonna say this again, but one show grows in viewership while another shrinks in viewership over time. Quality something, storytelling something, or somewhat originality something. Anyway.
So let's get into episode 1 of The Penguin. It's titled After Hours, which is the series premiere of the title American crime drama TV miniseries, The Penguin.
Ba-da-bum-ba-da.
Off the rip, before we do the breakdown of the episode, what were your just initial takeaways of watching the show? Kind of, I don't know what your expectations were going into the first episode, Christian, but I honestly didn't know what to expect from the show per se. I knew we were gonna get in-depth look at the Penguin and what he is up to in this iteration of Gotham, but I went in kind of just free-minded and seeing how they were gonna kick things off. But what were your overall takeaways from the first episode after watching it?
So going into the show, having seen the trailers, I was expecting this to be a gang show in which you would have the Penguin scheming to try and get more power, and the remnants of the Falcons would be involved. Now, this is a lot deeper than just that surface level thing, which I really appreciate because this show could have just taken the easy way out, and it doesn't at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an even better show for not taking the easy way out and just being like, oh, yeah, this is the character. He's cool. He's fine. He's the Penguin. He can be weird and goofy. He doesn't look good. And especially in this past week's episode, in that conversation that happens outside the club, there's a really good point made by him about a guy like that getting to where he is, and all due respect to Marvel, but I don't think Marvel's self-conscious enough to do that in anything they would do. But so I came in expecting one thing. I got that thing, but I also got a lot more, which makes me really happy. And I'll save something for the end of our Penguin discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier too. This show feels like Sunday night HBO. It has that type of aura around it. Now, I'm not saying it's in the Successions and Game of Thrones and that kind of level of pull just yet, obviously, with it being so fresh and new for the most part, but it has that feeling of hey, I gotta watch the Penguin on Sunday night.
Yeah, it's a show that fits more with the HBO brand than it does with other, for the lack of a better phrase, more normal superhero ish type content. And I think this is a real test case for what we're going to have coming with Lanterns. Which I know this is probably jumping the gun in this discussion, but Lanterns is going to be a show on HBO. That's not insignificant. And if we're talking this type of quality in a DC show, and I know that Lanterns is going to be more of a main canon thing, oh boy, we may be in for treats, folks.
I also think that we're enjoying this a lot because coming from the previous regime of DC and all the movies that came out from that run, and then everything we've gotten from Marvel post Endgame, there hasn't been a lot of street level superhero content. It has been a lot of cosmic, a lot of alien, a lot of fake, if you will. That stuff doesn't exist in our actual world, where crime boss, mafia, street level stuff, people can relate to that. And I think that's what makes the Penguin that much more intriguing, is because it's something that some people live with in an everyday life.
So I'll counter that by saying Marvel tried to do that with Echo,
Yeah,
and they weren't fully successful with it. If we're being honest, like,
it had its
it,
moments, but
yeah, it's. And again, I think part of the problem there was it maybe pulled its punches a little too much.
mhm,
Echo, that is. So, and this show, because it's an HBO show, doesn't pull punches in any
right.
way, shape, or form, and we will talk about it.
Yeah. So we'll get into the plot breakdown here for episode 1 of the Penguin. So the show kicks off 1 week after the seawall explosion in
Which
Gotham City from the movie The Batman.
which I was taking notes during this. It's a very I believe the correct term is a cinema verite, or no, sorry, no, in media res opening in terms of with that montage and everything. It's very much like how it's almost an identical shot to how the Penguin is shown during the ending of the Batman, where he's standing up there at the window as the sun's setting and everything. And we go through this montage that's really a exposition dump, but it gets right into it. And to be honest, it was minorly jarring at first, but then I was like, oh, okay, we're just getting right into this, and we're not doing any fluff, which I greatly appreciated.
So it comes one. It was funny. I think there was like a QR code or something like in some of the lead up like media for the show too. And if you scan the QR code, it brought you to a newspaper that was dated 2024 instead of 2022. So there's a little goof up there.
Well,
But this show does take place in 2022 for everybody watching at home. So the city experiences a severe crime wave while rumors spread that Alberto Falcone, son of deceased crime boss Carmine Falcone, is poised to take over the family business. Oswald, aka Oz Cobb. Now, this I think is also a change that is good for this show. In the comics and in Penguin's past, the Penguin's real name is Oswald Cobblepot, which
yeah,
gives you like this stoic kind of, hoity-toity, like in your brain feel about this guy. And that's not what this iteration of the Penguin is. He is a street crime, junkie. So I think him being called Oz Cobb is such a minor change that is so like attention to detail good.
like even just calling him Oz
Yes.
instead of Oswald makes a big difference.
So he recovers a stash of Falcone's valuables from the Iceberg Lounge, which again is just such a great name for a club that's run by the Penguin, including blackmail material and jewels, but is caught by Alberto. Oz convinces him that they are on the same side and to have a sit down to some drinks and drugs. Alberto discusses his plan to rebuild his father's empire, involving a new drug that has the potential to replace drops as the main family's business, which, if you remember the movie, everyone that was in the club, they were called drop heads. When Oz lets out his dream of becoming a respected figure in the underworld, Alberto, in a mix of paranoia and mockery, belittles and insults him, and impulsively, Oz shoots him dead, and then we cut right to the title screen,
Yeah.
which was just so perfect.
Yeah, I want to quickly touch on that because that was the moment where that was the moment where you're like, oh, this is an HBO show,
Yes.
because oh boy, that escalated quickly.
And you could just see the look, and you knew, Colin Farrell was about to be like, "Oh fuck," and it was perfect, like timing, perfect, everything. And I was at that moment, I was like, "Okay, this show's got juice," and we're 5-10 minutes into the show, if that.
It's got the juice.
It's got the juice, as the Costco guys say. It's bringing the boom. As he leaves to dispose of Alberto's body, Oz finds a gang trying to rob the rims of his car and starts shooting at them. Only one of them, Victor Aguilar, is left behind, and noticing his stutter, Oz spares and forces Victor to drive him around the city for multiple errands. And in the morning, they drop Alberto's body in an unused car in a dump, and Oz takes from his pinky a ring that previously was owned by Salvatore Moroni, Carmine's rival. He lets Vic convince him that he has potential and begins to employ him as his driver. Ladies and gentlemen, grooming.
Oz Cobb is P. Diddy?
Pause.
Kyle, what do you know, Kyle?
For legal purposes, this is parody.
Sure, Kyle.
Whoa.
I'm sure that's what they were all saying in the mansions.
Whoa. Coming from we take a couple weeks off, and now I'm getting accusations. What are you doing? Hey, put that away. Oz meets with Johnny Vitti, the underboss of the Falcone crime family. He is informed that Oz's drug operation will move to another part of Gotham, and despite Oz's protests, the decision is final. And attempting to save his position in the organization, Oz begins to pitch Alberto's plan as his own, but he is interrupted by the arrival of Falcone's daughter, Sophia, known to the public as the Hangman, which is such a badass name for a serial killer. God
yeah,
damn.
but wouldn't it be the Hangwoman?
Yeah, but it's also pretty badass that, like,
yeah,
she's that lethal that, like, yeah, that's the Hangman.
One thing I want to touch on, because I don't think this is talked about enough with the show, how they portray a stutter is great. Speaking as someone who has a stutter, stupendous, grade A, good job. It is extremely uncomfortable at points, but also that it does very much mirror real life situations of things. So
I like that actor a lot.
Yeah,
he's very good.
Yeah.
So she's known to the public as the Hangman, a serial killer, and who has just been released from the Arkham Asylum.
Boom, boom, boom.
It is implied that Oswald had a hand in her internment by denouncing her over to her father. Suspicious, she invites Oz over for lunch at a fancy restaurant and reveals that she was in on Alberto's project and interrogates him over her brother's disappearance. Oz tries to slither his way out by feigning ignorance and claiming he had Alberto's trust, but was not informed about Sophia's part in the plan. She obviously does not believe him, but leaves to investigate further. He later gets Victor to accompany him to visit his mother, Frances, who suffers from early onset of dementia. He confesses to murdering Alberto and tries to get her to leave Gotham City with him, but his mother chides him and convinces him that killing Alberto was only the first step to his rise in the criminal underworld. Inspired, Oz forms up a plan of his own. He visits the Blackgate Penitentiary to talk with Sal Moroni. He offers to work as a double agent and help him destroy Falcone's criminal empire, but Moroni is unwilling to trust so easily, and before he leaves, Oz returns his ring to him. While driving back from Blackgate, Oz is spotted by Sophia, who gives chase. He tries to lose her henchman in the street, but is caught and knocked unconscious. He's taken to the Falcone mansion, where Sophia reveals she captured one of the kids who tried to steal the rims of Oz's car the night Alberto disappeared, who implicates him. Oz adamantly lies and gets the boy killed, but he is nonetheless stripped and tortured while Sophia demands to know Alberto's whereabouts. Suddenly, a car crashes into the garden, and Sophia opens the trunk to find Alberto's corpse, his pinky cut, and the word payback scratched on the hatch. Oz is released and reunites with Victor, having secretly framed Moroni for Alberto's murder. As Oz and Victor drink slushies together, Oz reiterates his plan to take over the Falcone crime family, inviting Victor to be a part of his plan, which Victor accepts. What an introductory episode.
And ending on 9 to 5.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful. I think I tweeted when I was watching the episode, I was like, the Penguin episode 1 ending with 9 to 5 is just pure cinema. It was the perfect song to end on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna call it like a all-time pilot type thing, but it was a good pilot. It was a good pilot to kind of set the basis for the show that it has since launched off from.
There is
And
a thing about 9 to 5 too written on the episode description where it says the crew wanted a quote embarrassing song to use for the scene where Oz gets Victor in his car after arriving in the subway train. The scene was filmed without a specific song in mind, and the crew later considered many options. They subsequently settled on 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton, with Craig Zobel explaining, quote, maybe he had that tape and he grew up really loving Dolly Parton. He wouldn't want Victor to know that while he's trying to be tough and a scary character. It was the right mix, it seemed like.
A plus, like A plus, really fun needle drop. How do I put this? When it comes to the whole Sophia dynamic, when she first walked in, what were your thoughts?
She could fix me.
Easy boy. Easy boy.
The way they have her like costumed and her makeup and everything for her role is like perfect, because she gives off like, I'm a crime boss, but I'm also going to slit your throat.
Yeah, she's she very much has the vibe of she's there, but she's not all there,
Yes.
which I think works great. And
Especially knowing that she was in the Arkham Asylum, and we know who's in there right now from the Batman movie. So, like, who knows what interactions she may have had with somebody like the Joker, like the Riddler, and all the psychopaths that are in there.
well, hold on. If we think about it, though, this is set how long after the thing?
A week. So more so
So
the Joker than
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That I don't quite think that she would have interacted with. She would have interacted with our favorite little guy who loves to get the shit beat out of him in every movie, also known as Paul Dano. But it's a fun thought.
does he know?
Does he know? Does
The
does Kyle know that the FBI is currently watching him just in case?
all right, folks, that's an episode. Pretty cool that this episode did get a 100% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, with an average rating of 8.4 out of 10 based on 12 critic reviews.
Yeah. Let's just do some fast and loose rankings. 7.5 shrug, like good, not stupendous, but it's definitely a 7.5 is fair. Like good, not great, really just a big table setting.
I think mine's a little higher. I'm gonna go 7.9. I enjoyed it, and it elevated my appreciation for the Matt Reeves universe of Batman, and really like it was an episode that like I didn't know what to expect from the show full blown, but I was like, okay, I'm hooked. I'm ready for more of this show. And I think that's a great sign from a pilot when it's able to do that for you, especially on HBO, where we've had shows in the past that haven't really done that off the rip on different platforms. So yeah,
now I'll dare I say this? The Idol was a bad show, but the pilot was at least interesting, if not flawed. This is a better show, though I think just because of the nature of things, I didn't find the pilot as interesting, which I feel like is slanderous. But you get my point.
Mhm.
So
a 7.5 and a 7.9, which gives episode 1 an average
8675309.
banger of a song, a 7.7 average. Take that. Which moves us to episode 2, Inside Man, which came out 10 days later, which was a little different than the norm of HBO because the first episode debuted on a Thursday. So 10 days later, but good to see the ratings were boosted a bit, and then almost 0.3 million household viewers. So Sophia,
Million viewers.
millions and millions of viewers. Sophia undergoes therapy and suffers a panic attack after hallucinating Alberto's murder. She storms out of the therapist's office, intending to avenge her brother's death. Oz visits Maroney again, who is angry over his actions, and Oz defends his decision and convinces Maroney to continue their partnership by helping with a drop shipment that will be taken by Maroney's crew. However, Oz is surprised when Johnny Vitti appears and forces him to go in the armored truck instead of by car. Maroney's crew arrives and intercepts the truck, killing many of Falcone's henchmen, and Oz barely escapes alive and claims his innocence to Vitti. However, Sophia is certain that someone within their crew is cooperating with Maroney, and Falcone's brother Luca is brought in to take Carmine's place as the boss of the family and warns Sophia to stay out of their business. There's your first strike there, pal. You done goofed.
Strike one.
You pissed off somebody that just is fresh out of the Arkham Asylum. What are you doing?
Straight out of Arkham. Crazy motherfucking named Sophia.
we need an album cover straight out of Arkham.
Anyone?
Oz is called
one-time dealer.
Just one. Hit me. Oz is called to his mother's house after his landlord reports that her dementia has been worsening, and Oz refuses to get her into permanent care and keeps paying him to stay with her. After Alberto's funeral, Sophia bribes a retired GCPD detective formerly on her father's payroll to investigate the heist, and the man finds Irvad, one of Maroney's henchmen. Maroney's wife, Nadia, assigns Oz to retrieve Irvad before they can get him to talk, and Oz sneaks into the Falcone household, which is hosting the reception for Alberto's funeral. And during this, Victor tries to sneak Jules inside V's car to expose his affair with Luca's wife, but is forced to flee when Falcone's bodyguards see him. Oz finds the basement where Irvad is kept, but upon being informed by Victor that he was seen, he is forced to kill Irvad with a switchblade. When Sophia and Luca find the corpse, they place the house in lockdown and force everyone assigned to the truck, including Oz, into a room. Oz plants the knife on Sophia's enforcer Castillo, and Sophia tries to shoot him, but Luca intervenes and executes Castillo himself. Feeling
Strike two.
Bang. Feeling that Sophia is clouded by her vendetta, Luca decides that she will be sent to Italy until their business is settled. And that night, Oz makes Victor dig a grave for the bodies of Irvad and Castillo, warning him to stay focused or he will end up just like them. He is later called and meets with Sophia at the Falcone family crypt. She asks him for a partnership to wipe out the Falcone family hierarchy so she may step in and take complete control. I have a business proposal that you cannot refuse, Oz.
Tell me more.
He was the best man around. What about the people he killed? What murder?
One thing I forgot forgot to touch on at the end of last episode. Brain work. The introduction of Clancy Brown.
Yeah. Money.
Just
Yep. Needed it. Amazing.
How do I put this? Clancy Brown is an actor who is, I feel like, is like one of the best. Just like, oh, it's this guy getting to do character actor stuff. Love to see it. And so getting him to play this role and giving him a scene like that, and specifically a moment with the ring, and Oz being able to go, I'm more than what you think I am. It's really good there, man. But yeah, on to this one. This is where we finally get more Scheming Oz.
Mm-hmm.
And Scheming Oz is fun Oz.
Scheming Oz is a great name.
Scheming Oz.
That's like one of the people's names in Clue. I'm gonna be Scheming Oz. The fact that we don't have that needs to be something that comes out as we build upon this Matt Reeves Batman universe. We need a Batman Clue. Be spectacular. I would buy that instantly. I like this episode a lot, and I think it built upon more of the story of the Penguin and Sophia and like the characters that we're getting in this show more than the actual universe itself, which was a good thing.
Yes, which again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I feel like other universes are more of a service to the world than the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, and we're going to touch about this when it comes to the most recent episode, but they have really been able to give us characters who are generally compelling and have a continually evolving relationship.
Yeah,
that is really, in almost any way, unlike what most comic book shows get.
and I think with a genre like this, it keeps you on your toes because you don't know from episode to episode and quite honestly like scene to scene which characters you can trust. And depending on which characters you as a viewer like choose to align with, it changes your whole perspective of what the outcome of a given scene can be and what the outcome of a given episode week to week can be.
Which there's kind of no guy that's a better example of this than the guy who Mark Kelly plays, which you've said his name a billion times, but all I think of him, I believe it's Mark Kelly. Sorry, Michael Kelly, maybe? Michael Kelly? Michael Kelly? Yes, Michael Kelly.
Oh yeah, he's Johnny Vitti.
Yeah, because anyone who knows Michael Kelly's entire career has been, I am playing a fixer, I am playing a government agent, I am playing fill in the blank. Like, this guy played a federal agent in 6 episodes of The Sopranos. He showed up in CSI Miami, Law and Order, Person of Interest, probably most notably as kind of like the chief of staff / fixer in House of Cards. He's now in this. He was in Man of Steel as Steve Lombard. He was in Law Abiding Citizen. Like, he is a guy who plays a very specific type of character and is amazing as that character. And it's just another one of those roles where through the first 2 episodes, it's just like, oh yeah, that Michael Kelly's in his wheelhouse.
Let's also not forget he plays Pete in the critically acclaimed 2006 film Invincible.
Who? Where?
Pete. Come on, Pete. You remember Pete? Yeah, I like this episode. Like I said, it builds upon character development and just growing the characters that are in this show so far. And it's a good thing because episode 1 kind of laid out this section of the map of Gotham and gave you the character introductions, gave you kind of an intro of what this show's premise is kind of going to be. And then this episode said, hey, let's get into, the thick of character growth and development and kind of just giving you how these people are going to interact with one another. On Rotten Tomatoes, again, 100% approval rating for the episode and an average rating of 7.8 out of 10 based on 8 critic reviews. So nearly the same, just a couple less reviews. So who knows how it would have shaken out there. But how'd you get this episode on your rating scale, Christian, after a 7.5 for the pilot?
I'll give it a 7.8. I'll match the critics.
I'm right there with you, actually.
And now for the final one.
7.8 across the board. And that, excuse me, I don't have a voice because we're recording this on a Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and on Sunday I was at Citizens Bank Park and lost my voice, so it's just starting to come back. And if I cough,
and then we're
sorry
killing
about
it
it
as we speak.
So episode 3 is titled Bliss. So then we kick off this episode, Christian. I know it's your favorite thing, kicking off an episode with a flashback, but guess what? This is a flashback done right.
Yeah, exactly. It is. Which the fun thing about is we don't know it's a flashback,
right,
until the very end. Which, like, hey, good job, guys, and you know what? It adds depth to that character.
100%.
It adds meaningful depth. It adds useful depth. And it's a character we see evolve a lot in this episode specifically.
Yeah. That's how you do a flashback right. So in a flashback, Victor drops off tools at his family's apartment before leaving to meet up with friends. And despite his father's disapproval for one of Victor's friend's cousin being a known drug dealer, while hanging out with his girlfriend Graciela on a rooftop, Victor witnesses multiple explosions across Gotham City, destroying the seawall. And in the distance, Victor sees the flood hitting his house and killing his family. In present day, Sophia introduces Oz to her drug operation, a new product that was used on her and the other inmates at Arkham Asylum, with Oz naming it Bliss. To build a new operation base, Oz gets
great branding.
So good. Oz gets them to meet with Link Sai, a triad member, and meanwhile, Victor is visited by Graciela and learns she's leaving for California to start over. Victor reveals he is working for Oz, and Graciela urges him to leave with her. And tempted, he gives her a share of his $1,000 stipend that Oz is going to start giving him each and every week. Which I'm like, can somebody give me $1,000 every week?
I would just like to say, she doesn't just pay him a visit. He invites her over to Oz's apartment.
Dog.
Brother, you're asking for trouble.
But again, dog. Big dog gonna eat. And I'm not just talking about the pizza he ordered.
Unfortunately, he did no eating.
That's true. Gives her a share of his $1,000 stipend and tells her to buy bus tickets for the both of them. Meanwhile, in the Chinatown district, where the 76ers new stadium will be built, Link begrudges Oz over.
I have a dream.
Link begrudges Oz over an unpaid debt and will only accept to arrange a meeting with Triad's leader Feng Zhao if they get Johnny Viti's support directly.
Blackmail.
As he awaits for Oz and Sophia outside, Victor is approached by a police officer, but he swiftly smooths things over by letting the officer, quote unquote, confiscate the remaining money that Oz
Right.
gave him.
Pause. This was great.
It's
This
so
was
good.
great. This was stupendous. This showed that he understands what type of world he's in, and he's figuring out how to work inside this world.
So good.
And yes, it's a cliche moment, but being able to see the wheels turn in his head and get to that moment is so much fun.
It was so good. So he, quote unquote, confiscates the remaining money that Oz gave him, something Oz congratulates him over later. He's like, "You fucking did it, kid." While dining with Oz.
You talking to me? You talking to me? You talking to Bryce?
That's the big leagues.
Bryson, you're killing me, bud.
While dining with Oz, Victor opens up about his family, particularly his father having settled as a mechanic over becoming a chef, and how he never asked better of life. While Oz gives a toast in his honor, he advises Victor to strive for better as the world is unfair to honest people. Later, he and Sophia catch Johnny Viti in a hotel room having sex with Luca Falcone's wife.
Well, catch is a weak term.
True.
They blackmail her. Well, no, it's not technically blackmail. It's Oz asks for a favor that she will hate. To then,
don't forget your panties. Unbelievable line. She's so like deadpan face with that too. Forcing him to support their plan and call Feng Zhao as a sign of trust. And I mean the scene where he's like shoving the fucking blade in his mouth too. It's just like all time. Like
yeah, I was like, yeah.
That was literally like I was like on my couch, like, what are you doing, bud?
Thankfully, I had the subtitles on, so I was able to tell, like, oh, he's fucking with his teeth. Because I thought he was, like, going for his tongue. I'm like,
oof.
I don't know how going for his tongue helps you with a phone call, but
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, dude, he's gotta call the guy for you.
Yeah, Oz, I know you have self-control issues, but this isn't like shooting a guy who you were probably going to kill anyway at some point. This is a guy you actually need help from, and you have a knife in his mouth, and I can't tell if it's on his tongue, which would make a phone call impossible.
And then I couldn't tell if Viti was like biting the knife too. And I was
Yeah,
like,
no.
Fuck. It was so good though. So then they meet at a nightclub, and while Zhao is intrigued, he believes the risk outweighs the benefits, citing Sophia's stay at Arkham as a liability. And Sophia convinces him to give it a chance. Give it a chance. Come on. Give it a chance. Think of the kids. Give it a chance. Pointing out the citizens of Gotham will rush to use the drug as an escape after what the Riddler did to the city. But upset, she leaves the meeting and has Oz secure the Triad's partnership. And while Victor tries to dance with a girl in the nightclub, the lights trigger his memories of the night of the seawall's explosion, causing him to have a panic attack. And Oz is delighted with the new partnership, but becomes upset when he finds that Victor wants to leave to flee with Graciela. He feels insulted that Victor thought he was forced to work for him, and dejected, he lets him go. Victor steals Oz's car and drives to the bus station to reunite with Graciela, but ends up not going with her. And back at the nightclub, Oz and Sophia argue over who is actually in control of the operation. Sophia citing her mistrust of Oz over the internment at Arkham, leaving it uncertain that she really is, quote unquote, the hangman or not. Oz attempts to mend their relationship, pledging his loyalty to her, when they are suddenly ambushed by Nadia Maroney and her men, who prepare to execute Oz after discovering his duplicity. Victor returns just in time and kills one of Maroni's henchmen by ramming into him with the car. Oz gets in the car and they drive off, and he orders Victor to leave Sophia behind. He's like, "You're really in it now, kid. You're really in it now." What a
Okay.
scene.
So there's a few things that I want to touch on here. And there's a lot of talk about this. The most accurate panic attack put the screen, maybe ever.
Yeah.
Like just the depth of like it triggering off of the specific things, but also the flashing in his head, and it's done in a conducive and cinematic way to where it makes sense. So good filmmaking there. But I want to talk about the conversation those two have. Sophia and Oz have. Because I kind of think this is part of the crux of this show, where he's the one who ostensibly made her this.
Yes.
And he is actively saying, I'm sorry for doing this, but for what I got out of it, for a guy who looks like me from where I'm from, having what I had, this small thing that made me feel powerful, is more than I could have ever dreamed of. And I hate that I did it every time, and I always regret. That is an amazing scene. It is truly amazing, just character depth and complexity of stuff we haven't seen yet. But if you've watched the preview trailer for next week, it seems like we're going to get a heavy flashback of the time where he was her driver and her getting arrested and everything. So, this is like serving a setup, but B, in the present time of the show, even without the full context, it feels so good and so grounded, and it's like it's so rare where in what's ostensibly a superhero show that you get something that's like that grounded, heartfelt, and philosophical.
Yeah. It was like that whole sequence, and then to have something like so like punch you in the face with like that much depth was awesome.
And then our boy saves the day.
Zoom,
Kind
zoom,
of,
if you
maybe.
will. Yeah, I mean,
Who is it? He was Jaleel Okafor going over the Ben Franklin Bridge, or was it the Walt? I don't remember at this point, but
yeah, I forget.
and
It's been 84 years.
anyway, Philly sports athlete driving way too fast over a bridge and gets ticketed. Check.
And then goes to a club and gets in a fight with opposing teams' fans. Check.
See, I was gonna make a joke before you said getting in a fight with other teams' fans and say, and I would have said, Deshaun Jackson, is that you?
No, it's the Penguin and Sophia with the Maronis, and it's Jaleel Okafor with Celtics fans. Do you remember that story?
Maybe vaguely, but what he's who did he just sign with?
The Pacers.
Right. Fuck that guy. Anyway,
Signed with the Pacers, and the Sixers went and played Jonah Bolden the other night.
God,
Time is a flat circle.
Remember when Jonah Bolton seemed like he'd be a fun stretch four?
Good times. Good times.
Good times when we didn't have to care about didn't have to care about championships as much.
I thought this episode was a home run. Very, very awesome across the board. I'm gonna give it an 8.6.
I'll be slightly lower. I'll say 8.4. Just because I think it's truly like a great episode in terms of giving us depth of character, motivation, also setting like it. It told its own story. It grew the characters. It set the scene for future stuff. Like it kind of just did everything that you wanted.
Yeah, it was super fun. I'm excited for next week where the episode translates to 100 years. And we have 5 more episodes left. Episode 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I think the show's just going to continue to build out and get better and better as it goes. And I'm excited to see what's next. So let us know in the YouTube comment section or the Apple Podcast reviews if you're watching The Penguin, what you're enjoying about it, and what you're expecting as this show moves along. And speaking of along,
Follow the yellow. No, it's not a yellow brick road, guys.
it is
It's
Agatha All Along and the Witch's Road.
which honestly, and you'll get a kick out of it. Sounds like it would be a really interesting small batch fall IAPA.
Yeah,
The Witch's Road.
the Witch's Road. Yeah,
The Witch's Road by Cape May Brewing Company.
it's so accurate.
Pumpkin flavored beer with pumpkin flavored beer with notes of barley and
With a cobweb finish.
for $60 for 2 cans.
Also get it at your local ShopRite. It is Agatha All Along, the newest installment to the MCU, the first Marvel Television, under the new umbrellas that they're doing. Which for everybody at home, this came out, I think, Comic-Con weekend. They talked about like doing the separation of like you'll see Marvel Studios for the movies, Marvel Television will be the TV shows, obviously, and then you'll have the special presentations, which are kind of like your Guardians Holiday Special, Werewolf by Night, and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how Marvel is approaching a lot of the things now, and I think that's a good split for them. Where they also mentioned like Marvel Television, special presentations, and all that kind of stuff. It's not necessary viewing to understand what's going to be happening on the movie screen. It's taking away a lot of
Expectations.
that, and it's taking away a lot of just like the I need to watch and know everything to understand what this is going on, and I think clears up a lot of confusion in some senses where it's like I don't need to sit down and watch 17 TV shows and 4 movies to understand the next movie or show that's coming out.
Now, what I'm about to say is unfair, but I mean this in a joking manner. It's being used to lower expectations, but also, holy shit, our expectations were already low enough as it was.
Now, off the rip, obviously we're going to be breaking down the first 4 episodes, and the first 2 came out together, which for this show as well, episodes 8 and 9 will premiere at the same time as well. I will say, this show it's better than some of the shows we've watched already through 4 episodes from
It's
the
fine.
MCU in recent memory. I mean, looking back, who could forget, the everlasting joy that was Secret Invasion?
Is it? Is it? Is it? Is it here? Is the specter of a good good show? Do you hear it, Kyle? All right,
I
no, never mind. That was just the corpse of Secret Invasion making noises in the background.
No, 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 that was Aubrey Plaza coming up from the ground.
Mommy?
Down, boy, down.
that, that 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 is the one time I will allow myself to do that.
That's
That is
great.
the lone singular time I will allow myself to do
I'll
that.
also say, through 4 episodes, I would lean that the show is better than The Acolyte.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, like, from a I'm
You're trying to put this nicely.
trying to like compare it to some of the other. It's a different show than She-Hulk.
She-Hulk had his own little things.
Like She-Hulk had its own quirks, where this show also has its own quirks so far. I'm in a different boat than Christian. I'm enjoying it. Like I think it's fun and lighthearted, and like I'll say like there's some moments in here that like we haven't seen Disney and Marvel pull those punches before, especially in this most recent episode, and that whole band sequence is happening, and we literally get like the fucking Hellfire Club mascot from fucking Stranger Things in live action popping up. I did not expect that whatsoever.
Like, ultimately, I don't necessarily think that this show is bad as much as it's just like utterly fine.
How would you, before we get into the breakdown, how would you have felt if this show came out closer in proximity to WandaVision? Like, say if it came out in like late 2022, early 2023, where WandaVision came out early 2021.
I probably wouldn't have had as many qualms, but at the same time, I don't get the point of this show about why we need to get this show. And that's kind of my big thing with Marvel, where, okay, you're making all these shows, but I don't know why we need these shows about Agatha, because why is Agatha going to be consequential at all? It's the kind of thing where, as someone who's not like I'm reading all the comic books and I know all the lore, this show doesn't exactly give you a reason to be, yes, this is going to keep me in here and watching this show every week, as compared to what the Penguin does, where it's like, ooh, this is a really engaging story and a great atmosphere. And I know all of this will probably, in some way, shape, or form, come around in 2026 when this movie comes out because of where we're leaving off there, type thing. So, whereas here, it's like, what purpose does Agatha serve in the future? Do you know?
I think it's to
And don't say Secret Wars.
well, that's obviously where everything's leading, but I think Agatha she's a big proponent in the West Coast Avengers storyline, and I think post Secret Wars, that's where your Avengers lineup is
Yeah,
going to be. But
but
that's
that's
just
the
me
problem.
as a comic follower, kind of
Wh-
reading the lines there.
which is fine, but what you're referencing is like 2028. And it's like I don't think Catherine Hahn's doing this in 2028.
If the check's big enough.
I mean, sure, but I'm talking about like ideally she has better things to be doing given her talent.
I also think her character probably gets yeeted
Yeeted.
in 2027 or whenever Secret Wars is.
Yeah, like we can talk about how underwhelming we thought something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier was, but I feel like that show at least showed its purpose, even though the villain was fine. And so I'm just here looking at Agatha and I'm going, I don't know why death matters in this. Going like it's unfair to Marvel shows, but them being self-contained, I would argue, is one of the worst things for them because of the broader expectation of this is the MCU and we're making an MCU show. Am I wrong for feeling that way?
I see where you're coming from. I will say death does have a pretty big storyline with somebody who hit the silver screen this past summer. Which I would love to see those two actors kind of.
Blade?
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Gambit?
Whew, you know how long I've been waiting for this? About to make a name for myself.
Who else was in that decrepit movie?
Decrepit.
Elektra?
Oh, that's great. But no, I would love to see Aubrey Plaza and Ryan Reynolds on the same screen together in their roles because that would be unbelievable cinema.
Cinema, baby.
So let's get into it. We'll break down the first 4 episodes of Agatha All Along, and we're recording this on a Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and we know that episode 5 is coming out on Wednesday, but that'll be on the next episode. So guess what? # deal with it. So the first episode, Christian, Seekest Thou the Road? In a crime noir television series titled Agnes of Westview, which is a complete parody on Mayor of
Kingstown. No, yes, sorry. Easttown. Mayor of Easttown. MARE of Easttown.
Yeah.
MAYOR of Kingstown is the Jeremy Renner show.
Right. Hawkeye?
Hawkeye used to be a prisoner and now works with prison people to maintain order between gangs. Is this just dystopian Endgame written by Tyler Sheridan?
I always knew S.H.I.E.L.D. was part of Hydra.
Anyway, but
I will say I appreciated the attention to detail of continuing on with the Philly/Baltimore accents from all of the characters in this scene.
I will say though, the speed of which they just ditched that after 15 minutes, I was just like, really? Like I get why, but I'm also like, why did I have to sit through that then to then do this?
So Agnes O'Connor is a police detective in Westview fixated on a Jane Doe murder case.
Are we sure she isn't an Irish pop singer? She was Irish, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Yes, okay. So for any Zoomers, I was referencing Sinead O'Connor. Anyway.
One night, a teenager breaks into Agnes's house looking for "quote unquote" the road, and Agnes believes he is tied to the murder case and arrests him. Rio Vidal, an FBI agent, comes to Agnes and helps her realize the Jane Doe she is seeking is actually Wanda Maximoff's body, and that Agnes is actually the witch, Agatha Harkness, who has been trapped under Wanda's spell for 3 years. Shh, shh, shh.
Echo.
Waking up from the spell, Agatha realizes that her powers are gone and that Rio, a fellow witch with whom Agatha has history, is there to kill her. Agatha convinces
Mwahaha.
Rio to spare her until she gets her powers back, but Rio warns Agatha that the Salem 7 will soon come after her. After Rio leaves, Agatha is unsure what to do about the teen, whom she actually kidnapped under the influence of Wanda's spell.
See, Kyle, here is the real question. What type of basketball play style do you think the Salem 7 have? Do you think the Salem 7 function more as a 3-point shooting team, or do they have some more post size to end up backing people down?
Well, I was going to say, instead of a triangle offense, they're definitely playing like a pentagram offense.
True. Well, but when that takes 6 people being all on the court, though, well, then again, we are talking about witches playing basketball, so they can probably make their own rules. Now, the real question is, is the backboard, is the backboard shaped like the head of the devil?
Mephisto?
Nani? Anyway,
who would
sorry.
win in a fictional basketball game? The Salem 7 or the Harlem Globetrotters?
No.
Leave it in the YouTube comment section.
No. Who would win, the Salem 7 or the Monstars?
With or without Mike's secret stuff? Leave it in the YouTube comment
Well,
section.
no. See. Here's the thing. Even if they had Mike's secret stuff, they could just cast spells on them.
It's true. That's true. Do we want to do episode 1 and 2 as a tandem?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So episode 2 is Circle Sewn with Fate / Unlock Thy Hidden Gate. The teen reveals he freed Agatha from the spell and wishes to travel the witch's road, which rewards any witch who survives its trials what they desire most. In Agatha's case, the restoration of her powers. Agatha also realizes magic is preventing her from learning any personal information about the teen, including his name, which I thought that effect was really cool.
It is a great bit. I will say it is my favorite bit of the show. That he has a sigil on him, and it's just anytime he says his name, it's just blanked out. and I always do a mini double take. I'm like, oh wait, yeah, no, okay, we're good.
Which everybody online is speculating that he is Billy Maximoff, aka Wiccan. But that remains to be seen. Needing a coven to open the portal to the road, the pair recruits the witches Lilia Calderu, Jennifer Jen Kale, and Alice Wu Gulliver, who all have reasons to walk the road as well. And needing a green witch, but not wanting to recruit Rio, Agatha instead turns to Westview resident Sharon Davis. What a blast from the past, a talented gardener. As the 4 witches and Sharon perform the ritual to open the gate to the road, they and the teen escape through it to narrowly avoid the Salem 7, and the group then removes their footwear and sets off on the witches' road. Now, I will say, watching this episode at night and the Salem 7 popping up in that street in Westview, I was like, holy shit, this is new territory for Marvel.
Yeah, it was a good design to have the singing combined with them slowly coming up through the cul-de-sac. It was like really fun design in my opinion.
You mean the cult Isak?
Good one.
I thought it was a good pairing to do the first 2 episodes together. I thought they flowed really well. We've had some shows in the past where they do a double or even a triple episode premiere, and sometimes it's like, damn, I feel like they kind of like wasted a lot by doing that. I thought these 2 episodes, it was a good flow, to have them kind of paired up and kind of left you off on a perfect note at the end where it's like, all right, now we know where we're going. Um, I thought it was fun. There's a lot of fun moments in these first 2 episodes, and the character introductions were great. I thought the recruiting of Sharon Davis because she's a gardener and that's why she's the Green Witch was awesome, and very funny, and just more kind of like tie into WandaVision. And if you don't know, Christian and I talked about this when the news happened, but this is like part 2 of a 3-part run allegedly, where it's going to be WandaVision, Agatha All Along, and then the Vision show that's coming next year, I want to say.
They talked about filming it, and that's all I know.
Yeah, but I don't know. I had fun with the first 2 episodes. I thought it was good. Like, I'm not saying it was great, but it was good. It was fun, and it had a lot of like good elements to it.
It's perfectly fine. I don't want to give this a rating simply because like I'm not the target audience for this. But like it's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give it like for the 2 episode premiere, it's like a 7.5 on like the fun scale, and knowing kind of what you're getting into with it. I enjoyed it. It's not like it's like unwatchable. It's fun. It's easy to get through, and sets you up for the episodes to come. So I enjoyed it, and it kept me interested. So moving to the 3rd episode, through many miles of tricks and trials. So to reach the end of the road, the Coven will face trials that focus on different branches of witchcraft. They also realize that the teen's sigil prevents any witch from learning his identity. At the first trial, the Coven finds a coastal house with a bottle of wine that everyone but Teen drinks, and Jen privately warns the teen not to trust Agatha, who is said to have traded her child for the Darkhold. A timer starts counting down, and Jen realizes the wine was poisoned, and Sharon faints. As they gather ingredients to create an antidote, the witches hallucinate, and Lilia sees her younger self and her maestra from the Renaissance era. Jen hallucinates a doctor forcing her underwater. Alice sees her mother, Lorna Wu, about to commit unaliving of herself. And Agatha sees a crib containing the Darkhold. As they prepare the antidote, the house is brought underwater, threatening to drown them. With a few seconds left, they finish the antidote, drink it, and feed it to Sharon. Water pours in, but a tunnel appears in the oven, and the Coven escapes through it back to the road. As they recover, the teen discovers that Sharon is dead.
Boom, boom, boom.
I thought this episode was really fun, showcasing, one of these trials, and again, it showed off like elements that we're not used to from Marvel/Disney on like the quote unquote horror aspect of things. To have somebody getting drowned like that, you have kind of the physical embodiment of what everyone is assuming is death, Lady Death, as that pops up behind Lilia's teacher in the Renaissance era, and to have like a depiction of unaliving with Lorna's mom was kind of crazy. And I like, one of my favorite parts of this show so far too is seeing how they're depicting the Darkhold and like what it has replaced for Agatha, where you see Wanda's body, or allegedly Wanda's body, on the table in the first episode, and it's got the kind of like library card checkout thing, and it shows the names, and it's like, this is just a depiction of what this is, and it was so you could get the Darkhold, and then the Darkhold is underneath the tablecloth, like the body cloth. The Darkhold is in the bed there, and it's using the Darkhold as like personification of what Agatha sacrificed to get her hands on that. And I think they've done a good job of like showcasing that. And that's been a lot of fun to see, like where the Darkhold pops up each time it's shown. It's also interesting going back to that first episode. I think there was 11 names on that library checkout card, and Wanda and Agatha's names were on there. We also know that in alternate universe, Doctor Strange's name is on that bad boy. So who knows who else is on there? But I like this episode a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun and had a lot of elements. Again, like I said, that we're not used to seeing from Marvel, and I like the kind of straying from the path of kind of the cookie cutter nonsense that we've gotten over the past couple of years.
Yeah. You know, we'll wrap up our thoughts on it in the fourth episode, but you touched on that one specific scene in the fourth one, and it's just like, yeah, like that there's some fun scenes in this show. But
So, episode 4, if I can't reach you, let my song teach you. After burying Sharon, the Coven is forced to summon a replacement Green Witch, and out of the ground and very replica of Wanda in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness as she's walking through that puddle in the mirror, Rio emerges from Sharon's grave. Christian, say the line.
Aubrey Plaza,
AKA
the girl from White Lotus.
I was teeing you up to say mommy again.
I told you only once, Kyle.
I was gonna see if you would fall for the trope.
No.
Rio emerges from Sharon's grave, much to Agatha's annoyance. The Coven encounter a house with a 1970s aesthetic that prompts renewed feelings of grief for Alice, as it turns out to be a recording studio tied to Lorna. Just as Rio playfully suggests to Agatha that they betray the others, which is overheard by everyone on a nice little hot mic, the teen accidentally plays a record backwards. Which, Christian, I'm sure as a music fan, you enjoyed this little trope here of the backwards record playing.
See, it all that made me think of was, do you remember the whole Gravity Falls thing where if you played what Bill Cipher said as he was getting, I forget what, it was, I think it was when he was trying to get, when he was getting put back in to something, but if you played what he said in reverse, it actually made sense. Whereas if you just played it how it was in the show, it was gibberish.
So there's also a trope from like the 80s where it was called like black masking, I think, where people would play records backwards. It was popular with like a lot of Beatles songs that if you played the records in reverse, it sounded like there was like satanic
Yeah.
stuff and things like that. And that's kind of where this comes from, because they play it backwards, and you get the demonic just sounds and everything, and it summons a demon that turns out to be the source of the generational curse in Alice's family. And in order to fight it, the group plays Lorna's version of the ballad, revealed to be a protection spell, and Alice is able to kill the demon, which that thing was creepy as all get out. And as the Coven leaves the house, they notice the teen had been severely wounded by the demon. Back on the road, they tend to the wound, and Jen is able to heal it, saving the teen's life. Later on, Lilia, Alice, and Jen bond with each other while Rio alludes to her history with Agatha. The teen asks Agatha what happened to her son, but she does not answer. And later, as Agatha tries to kiss Rio, she tells Agatha that the teen is not her son.
Bum bum bum.
Bum, bum, bum. Now, earlier this week, Aubrey Plaza's character was truly spoiled by Funko. And
Whoops.
she is playing Death, aka Lady Death, who is a prominent character in the Marvel Comics, has the affection of one giant purple 50% of the world snapper Thanos in the comics, who his right-hand man in the comics is the one and only Mephisto, and not Ebony Maw like it was in the movies. And Lady Death also has a nice little affair with Deadpool as well in the comics. So she's a fun character because she kind of like brings out the lust and the worst in a lot of like high profile characters in the comics.
So you're saying a lot of people think that she's that 4-letter word.
Oh, she is Mob E. MOM capital E, baby. I'm excited that that's her character. I will say that. I think that's a great development for Aubrey Plaza in the MCU. And
If she's allowed to live that long.
that's true, but she is death, so she's already dead. But I think this episode also showcased that, like,
But what about super death?
God damn it. It shows, in my opinion, that Agatha and Lady Death had an affair, and that could have led to, Agatha's son being, taken out of her reach and her getting the Darkhold and everything. So there's a lot of underlying elements in this episode that I think are really key and really important in that character dynamic between Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza. And I don't know, it's something about episode 4s in the MCU that always have something up their sleeve. And I thought this episode was really fun. That song is going to be stuck in my head for the next 2 weeks. And we had more demons. And who knew that Marvel had demons in their bag like that?
Imagine.
So we still have 5 episodes left of Agatha All Along as well, which, like we mentioned, the final 2 episodes will premiere the day before Halloween. So we'll see where it goes. I'm having fun with it. I think it's different than a lot of the stuff we've gotten from Marvel over the past couple of years. And we'll see where it goes.
We shall see.
So without any further ado, let's get to everyone's favorite segment. It is the Streaming Platform Multiverse news and notes brought to you by our pals over at Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, only 120 calories, and just 8 grams of carbs. You can get Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores or on tap in the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, Maryland, and Delaware areas. Go to kenwoodbeer.com and use the Kenny Finder to see who's got it on tap in your area. Must be 21 or older to do so. And of course, please drink responsibly. Christian, we're kicking off the multiverse news and notes with some of our own personal news. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, drum roll, please. We are Paramount Plus affiliates.
Woo!
Let's go. I
We
texted
did it,
Christian
boys.
when I got the email back, and it was one of the most capitalized text messages from Christian I've ever received, and we are super stoked about this. And you're probably wondering at home, well, guys, what does that mean? Well, that means
You make us money.
We're gonna hook you up with a link that is in the description to sign up for Paramount Plus. And you're probably wondering, what can I get on Paramount Plus, guys? Well, Paramount Plus back in the day used to be known as CBS All Access, and now it is Paramount Plus, which you can watch tens of thousands of episodes on demand from the following outlets: CBS, BET, Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon, Nick Jr., and the Smithsonian Channel. You can stream even more exclusive originals, movies, and live sports when you sign up for Paramount Plus with Showtime, and enjoy the growing collection of Paramount Plus originals and stream your local CBS station live, including live sports like the NFL on CBS and UEFA for all you footy fans. You get 24/7 live news with CBSN and CBSN Local, and you can cancel or change at any time. So click the link in the description, get your Paramount Plus subscription. It's probably I think we've talked about this a couple years ago, Christian, when we were kind of going through some of the like streaming platform changes and everything. I think Paramount Plus is one of the best bang for your buck streaming platforms. And we're not just saying that because we're Paramount Plus affiliates. Like for the price that Paramount Plus is and the catalog of content you get, it is an awesome value.
Yeah. So as someone who's big into the depth of a streaming service rather than the top end, Paramount Plus having basically the entire historic CBS back catalog is one of the most unfair things. On top of having the Paramount movie studio, like I would encourage everyone to sign up for Paramount Plus using our code, please, and just watch some Twilight Zone because very few shows hold up as well over as many years as the Twilight Zone. Like in the past few months, I have gone back onto Paramount Plus and watched multiple episodes of the Twilight Zone and just marveled at how, man, these are 20-minute TV episodes that feel like they could have been movies, and they're all just like so good. And I love it. It's refreshing. Makes me happy all the time.
You get stuff like the Twilight Zone, you get the whole Nickelodeon catalog, like we mentioned. So all your classic like 90s Nicktoons are on there. DJ's taking full advantage of Paramount Plus right now as he is on his journey of watching from the very beginning Survivor, the entire 47 seasons ongoing of Survivor are on Paramount Plus. A fun little show known as Beavis and Butthead. If you want to have a good laugh late at night and need something to just like wind down to and just like laugh your ass off at how like stupidly funny it is, put on like some classic Beavis and Butthead. You will piss your pants laughing. It's so great. Obviously the NFL on CBS, UEFA for all the soccer fans, golf is on there. Obviously with CBS, Formula One and IndyCar on Paramount Plus. They have a huge partnership together. The list goes on and on. You can watch some classic SpongeBob episodes like
SpongeBob, Zoe 101, Drake and Josh,
Keenan and Kel. Like Paramount Plus is fantastic, and you stumble upon some gems of like movies that are on there too. They have it all. I mean, the brand new Reborn Criminal Minds series is on Paramount Plus, plus all the original Criminal Minds, which is one of the best shows in my opinion, of just like entertainment value and just all around good TV. Paramount Plus is the best, and we're so thankful to be part of their affiliate program. So click the link in the description, get yourself a Paramount Plus subscription with our link, and we're super pumped to be a Paramount Plus podcast.
Yeah, if you claim to be a fan of TV and you're not subscribed to Paramount Plus, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. It is truly, like we said, like best bang for your buck catalog of a streaming platform out there. And this also does not change the fact that we're going to be watching shows on other platforms, but we're super pumped to be able to have Paramount Plus on board with us. And, we're going to be putting out, just some like easy stuff, over the course of a week, each and every week of stuff that you should watch, some of our recommendations on Paramount Plus that you can tune into. And I mean, all the stuff from back in the day. One last thing on Paramount Plus, like all the Spike TV stuff that used to be on there, Ink Master and like all that stuff, all on Paramount Plus. It's the best. We're super pumped to have Paramount Plus on board with us. So, like we said, click that link in the description and get your Paramount Plus subscription with us. And we're stoked to be a Paramount pod.
Speaking of people who we may or may not be affiliated with, one group who we're definitely not affiliated with is the people who were rumored to be and then disproven to be buying the Jim Henson lot.
I miss this.
Oh, so the Muppet slot was reported to be and I say reported in loose terms, to be going to the Church of Scientology, which the Henson family said, no, they have not offered us anything.
Good grief. Tom Cruise, stay away. I was
Eh,
I was
I,
sad when I saw that lot was like kind of up for sale and
I would
everything.
I would I would take Tom Cruise in a movie with a bunch of Tom Cruise and a bunch of Muppets sounds pretty fun to me.
Now,
No,
I do have to say, as a big time Muppets fan, calling someone a Muppet is one of the greatest insults you can dish out to somebody.
and you can thank the British for that.
It's so good. Um, our friends at Culture Crave posted this one. It's via Deadline. Are you excited, Christian? Christopher Nolan's next film is set to release July 17th, 2026. We have some details. Allegedly,
Mr. Damien.
Matt Damon is in talks to star. Filming starts in early 2025. Christopher Nolan wrote the script, and he's returning to Universal.
And it's rumored to be a father-son movie. Which I would just like to talk about 2026 real quick. We are gonna get films by so we're getting what's rumored to be the third Dune movie. We're gonna get the Batman Part 2. We're gonna get a Nolan movie, a Spielberg movie, which Spielberg's doing a Alien movie. We're getting a Jordan Peele movie, and there's one other director who I'm forgetting. But 2026 is gonna be a banger year, brother.
Did you see the official art for Star Wars Celebration Japan?
No.
It is badass artwork. I'll have to send it to you because it is gorgeous. Like, I need posters of all of this. Sebastian Stan defending the MCU.
Next.
In GQ magazine said, if Marvel was gone, it'd be such a big hole to try to fill it up. Don't just go out there and shit on something without offering something better.
I will offer something better. Maybe instead of spending $200 on one movie, I don't know, we could spend $40 on 5 movies. Maybe just a thought. Anyway, but speaking of celebrating things from a thing or two ago, Velma's being canceled after 2 seasons, Kyle. Our long national nightmare is over.
Huzzah! Who would have ever put Velma on their top 10 most anticipated shows of a certain year?
Roll the tape, guys. Roll the
Couldn't be
tape.
us.
Kyle, roll the tape. No, hold on. Us? Us?
It was neither of us.
You bitch. Us?
Nobody on this show ever did that.
And nobody on the show instantly turned to you and said, bitch, you crazy?
Never.
Yeah, surely never.
Speaking of celebrating, this is awesome news. The Office star Jenna Fisher announced that she was diagnosed with breast cancer last December, but it's awesome because she's now cancer-free after completing surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. Happy to hear she is cancer-free because
Damn.
like, wild that was like under wraps for almost a year. And
She must have a really good publicist.
yes.
But speaking of awesome things, Kyle, are you prepared for what may potentially be the greatest crossover in TV history?
It's Always Sunny at Elementary.
That would be chaos.
I can't wait. There's something special about the center of television being in Philadelphia. Those two shows are just unbelievable. I'm such a huge fan of both, and I can't wait for that.
One other piece of news I want to talk about. So obviously we got the trailer for Paddington in Peru, which is the new Paddington film, and it looks like Paddington's going an adventure in the jungle, and people involved in the film compared it to the works of Werner Herzog, such as Fitzcarraldo. Kyle, do you know what Fitzcarraldo is?
I have no clue, but it sounds extravagant.
Fitzcarraldo, for the lack of a better term, is a movie about the brutality of man towards man, and right here is a opera-loving European. Brian Fitzgerald lives in a small Peruvian city, better known as Fitzcarraldo. This foreigner is obsessed with building an opera house in his town and decides to make his dream a reality. He needs to make a killing in the rubber business. In order to become a successful rubber baron, Fitzcarraldo hatches an elaborate plan that calls for a particularly impressive feat: bringing a massive boat over a mountain with the help of a band of natives. And guess what, Kyle? Because it was the 1980s, they were actually dragging a boat through the South American jungle over hills, to the point at which, and I'll show you the video after, this movie's production was so fraught that the star and the director were having regular screaming matches and went to kill each other, and one of the natives offered to kill the star of the movie for the director. and so transpose that over a cute bear with a British accent being voiced by Ben Whishaw.
Now,
like,
why does that scenery that you just painted for me from all of that sound like a place, rest in peace to the legend, that Anthony Bourdain would go and try like native cuisine at?
Because it does feel like a place Anthony Bourdain may have gone to try some cuisine at.
That's wild. What else is wild is Amazon is seeking to dismiss the lawsuit filed by users who argue that it's deceptive to charge an extra $3 after advertising Prime Video as quote unquote commercial free for years. Quote, Amazon never promised to anyone that Prime Video would be always or entirely ad free. They say users got exactly what they bargained for.
Listen, I hate to be this guy, but they told us that they were making this change, and it's just y'all not being in the loop and getting big mad, so shut up.
The Gladiator 2 popcorn bucket dropped.
Mm-hmm.
What's the over under for how many kids are wearing that at your local cinema?
At mine, I don't know. In Cherry Hill or Marlton, I don't know. Probably sell out, and a few kids will be idiots. So yeah. Speaking of movies like that, Daniel Day-Lewis is returning to acting in his son's debut feature in a movie with Sean Bean. Say less, I'm in.
Martin Scorsese has no plans to retire from filmmaking. Quote, I'm not saying goodbye to cinema at all. I still have more films to make.
Bless you, Marty.
But
hold on. Speaking of people who should make less films, did I send you the images from The Electric State? With Millie Bobby Brown and the Mr. Peanut, who we can't tell if she.
No.
Okay, hold on.
She said that.
Okay, so Kyle, I want you to read this tweet that I'm posting in the private chat out loud, and then
God.
I want you to look at the image and tell me, is that CGI character in front, behind, or next to Millie Bobby Brown?
The Russo brothers, The Electric State, follows an alt history where Walt Disney's Disneyland animatronics led to intelligent robots who revolted against their creators. Mr. Peanut, voiced by Woody Harrelson,
Keep
is the
going.
leader of the robot insurgency.
And tell me, is Mr. Peanut in front or behind Millie Bobby Brown? Because this is a problem.
It
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
behind, final answer.
No one knows. So yeah, Russo brothers, please, we're begging you. Just go back and make your millions of dollars in the MCU and stay out of normal filmmaking. I'm begging you.
Well, I'd like to contest that a movie with this description is not normal.
Yes, but they chose to make this project. And this movie cost like fucking $300 million.
Of course it did.
It Netflix is money laundering, everybody. Because of Russo brothers movies, they will never beat the allegations.
So what is that? So for anybody that doesn't know, I keep a running list of things that are money laundering. Am I adding this to the list?
Yes,
The Russo brothers payroll.
Kyle. I'm going to read you the cast of this film.
So for anybody that doesn't know my money laundering list, it is mattress stores, crypto / NFTs, New Orleans Saints quarterback / tight end Taysom Hill's contract, and now I guess we're adding the Russo brothers payrolls.
So cast in this film are the following people: Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, Ki Huy Kwan, Stanley Tucci, Giancarlo Esposito, Brian Cox, Jenny Slate, Anthony Mackie, Billy Bob Thornton, Jason Alexander, Alan Tudyk, and Woody Harrelson.
So this is the MCU meets Stranger Things meets Seinfeld meets
True Detective meets Breaking Bad. They spent
meets The Mandalorian.
They spent $320 million on this piece of shit.
Fucking Mr. Peanut.
Again, it's so ridiculous.
This sucks. This news came out yesterday as we record this. Doc Harris, the narrator for Dragon Ball Z, has passed away at the age of 76.
Sad.
Iconic voice.
I'm just gonna quickly drop a mini trailer talk. Nosferatu coming out on Christmas. Fuck yes. Gimme. We got a trailer for Baby Girl, also on Christmas. Kyle, do you know what Baby Girl is?
I don't.
Do you know who Harris Dickinson is?
I'm gonna double down and say I don't.
Okay, so basically, Nicole Kidman plays the CEO who starts a hot affair with one of her interns. And it's basically the guy becomes the dom. And basically ends up having power over her because she's the CEO. So it's like, I can ruin your life in one phone call because I'm an intern.
So it's real life role reversal, same role in bedroom of 50 Shades of Grey.
Sure. Yeah. Also, rest in peace, a true American Renaissance man, Chris Christopherson, who some people may not know, along with being a country music singer-songwriter and actor, was in the military, I think. Was also a Rhodes Scholar.
Sheesh. Talk about a
Um,
resume.
Also, rest in peace, John Ashton of Beverly Hills Cop fame.
And I don't think we've done an episode since his passing. Rest in peace to the legend, James Earl Jones.
Rest in peace, Maggie Smith.
Yes.
Lots of big deaths recently.
And yet Nick Castellanos only has one home run this postseason.
Okay, so who do we have to kill tomorrow?
Grimace.
Can Grimace drink a Grimace shake and then fall into the Mets bullpen? And then
Let's
the Mets
find out.
bullpen, and then the Mets bullpen can explode in a fiery ball, and then
Bane comes from the sky.
and then Bane comes down.
I did it for you, the people.
No, Bane comes down, breaks Francisco Lindor's back. Oh, and then the ball finally goes over the right field fence, and the Phillies win 5-3.
Also, I'm just saying, one of those like TikTok, Instagram reel interviews happened with Nick Castellanos recently that emerged, and ESPN wanted to do like a story documentary type thing on the man who hits home runs at untimely moments and everything like that, but they wouldn't give him editorial rights, so he turned it down. I quote tweeted the video that John Boy Media put out about it and said, "We'll give you editorial rights, Nick," and tag Jess Castellanos, his lovely wife. Jess liked the tweet. Let's get the ball rolling because I will do that 110%.
In other movie trailer news, Kyle, do you know about the movie Sinners?
I've heard the name.
So it comes out in March. Michael B. Jordan's playing identical twins, and they're fighting vampires, baby. Yeah.
I have also heard this is a big reason why Blade has gotten delayed so much.
Why is Blade gotten delayed because of this?
Because Ryan Coogler is
No, don't tell me he's directing Blade now.
no, like
he's
he's part of Sinners, and the whole story that Sinners is apparently lined up with a lot of the stuff that was going to be in Blade. So they said, we're gonna wait."
We're just gonna rewrite Blade for the 60th time.
So Christian, I want you to have the floor here. What are you making of the Joker 2 downfall?
Are we sure it wasn't self-sabotage?
Did you see the video at the press
I saw the
tour?
movie.
No,
I saw the movie.
The video of the press tour where Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga are next to each other.
Shit.
And he's like, "It's a piece of shit." She's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "It was terrible."
So the rumor going around is that, well, hold on. First of all, apparently they didn't test screen it at all, which that's a red flag. B, apparently Joaquin took Todd out into the hall during the premiere, and who knows what the fuck they were saying to each other during that. But also, my favorite thing is like people are, I think, rather accurately saying like this was a film where Todd Phillips was tearing down the mythos of what he created, which like you can see it in the movie, but also it is the most genre confused schlocky piece of shit that's too long. The musical numbers serve one purpose, but it feels so unbelievably extra. And I probably spent 95% of that movie on my phone because I was so just like, yeah, no.
Yeah, what's the name of the director?
Todd Phillips, the guy who did the Hangover movies.
Stick to the Hangover because he fucking destroys anything Batman. Like,
well,
everything he has done with Batman related stuff in terms
Okay,
of just
fine.
like sticking to what the Batman like core is. He just strays from the path, and it's very like
Yeah.
Marvel Sony verse.
Yeah,
Which,
like
funnily enough, Joker 2 actually only ended up making $37.8 million in its domestic opening weekend, which was less than Morbius.
like now to be clear something, we just don't want him doing that type of IIP stuff because this is the guy who also wrote and directed Old School and War Dogs. So it's like, just don't have him do this superhero shit because he clearly hates the cult that develops. Which I hate the cult that develops, but that's neither here nor there.
Did you see Will Smith and Michael Bay are in talks to reunite for the Netflix film Fast and Loose?
Breaking news: Will Smith needs a Netflix payday.
The film follows a man who wakes up with no memories, but soon learns he has been living two lives, one as a crime kingpin and one as an undercover CIA agent.
I will not make a Gemini Man joke.
Let's see.
Hold on. Pause. Zach Kreger is in talks to direct Sony's upcoming Clue film. Do you remember who Zach Kreger is,
The name
Kyle?
sounds very familiar.
Barbarian?
Oh, Christ. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Gimme, 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 gimme,
Uh,
gimme, 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 gimme it, gimme it.
Ewan McGregor says they're exploring ideas for Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2. He wants to wear the Clone Wars armor and do more flashbacks with Hayden Christensen.
See, Kyle, here is the thing. They're exploring that. I'm also exploring winning the lottery. I I don't quite know if that's going to happen. We can both hope that it happens, but I don't necessarily think that that's going to happen. You know,
Exploring winning the lottery is crazy.
maybe,
Oh,
you know, but who knows, really, right?
uh, that's great. Here's our here's our today we're fucking old moment. Naruto premiered 22 years ago this month.
Oof, that's an oof. That's an oof there. I'll give you that one.
That's gonna be a big yikes from me, dog. Um,
One
so
more.
this is great. Speaking of Breaking Bad earlier, Saul Goodman almost worked at Hot Topic instead of Cinnabon after the events of Breaking Bad. It was changed because Hot Topic sells Breaking Bad shirts.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to think about what weird '90s rock band shirt would Saul wear? Would he be wearing a Sublime T-shirt?
Oh,
Would he be wearing a Dookie T-shirt?
probably both.
Would he wear a Rage Against the Machine shirt?
Yeah, those are all in his wardrobe. Also, this is like one of those things that does not feel similar. How we just mentioned Naruto premiered 22 years ago. Naruto premiered a year before School of Rock was released.
Huh?
School of Rock was released 21 years ago this month.
I'm not gonna lie. Somehow that movie feels older.
Yes. Also, the Spider-Man Noir series starring Nicolas Cage is now filming.
Whoa. Hold on. I would just like to say this. We're really saying an animated show is filming.
Well, I think isn't it live action?
It, hmm?
I could have. I could be wrong.
Surely it's not. What's live action? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Live action Spider-Man Noir Nicolas Cage.
Whatever, Amazon, spend that money.
Oh yeah, this is one of those things too that I just need your rage about. According to Deadline, live action Rugrats movie is in the works. But here's the kicker. The babies will be CGI. Everything else will be
Burn it to the fucking ground. Burn it to the ground. I would.
What are we doing?
I would. Movie.
What are we doing?
I would rather see a Wild Thornberrys movie than watch fucking CGI babies run around a play area. Fuck no.
With a live action Darwin. That's just gonna be that movie where it's about the guy's life, but he's a monkey. Did you see that? Did you see that?
Oh yeah,
movie that's-
so it's a Robbie Williams biopic, but it's a CGI monkey. Which again, it is insanely baffling, but it's like, okay, whatever, man.
Also,
The-
I'm heavily intrigued by the Kendrick Lamar South Park creators comedy that's reportedly now filming.
Can't wait.
Which, for anybody that doesn't know, it's releasing in theaters July 4th, 2025. The story follows a black man interning as a slave reenactor at a history museum where he discovers that his white girlfriend's ancestors once owned his family.
That sounds like it's gonna be fun. I think that's a good point to wrap.
See if there's anything else real quick. Oh, the releasing on November 1st, we got the first trailer for the John Williams documentary that I will be sat for. Very excited for that. Releases on Disney Plus November 1st. And I'll also make you feel old on the way out. The Social Network released 14 years ago this month.
That one doesn't feel as bad.
Yeah, that's in my top 10 all time.
Good
Love
man.
That movie. Love that movie. That's all we got for you guys on this episode. Make sure you're following us on the socials at StreamerSZN and StreamerSZN Pod on TikTok. Follow Christian at @thewiz_PHI. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the pod on Apple and Spotify. Leave a 5-star review. Let us know how you're enjoying The Penguin, Agatha All Along, or whatever else you're watching right now. And of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of this show and every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. Leave a like on the video, drop a comment in the comment section, and of course, click that bell icon so you know when new videos go live. And this has been another edition of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Christian, I'm KB. We're going to go run around with the Falcons and down the Witches Road. But until next time, we'll see you next time.
Peace.